Hey everyone, it's Jessie checking in from Val d'Isère. It's Friday morning here in resort, and it feels like one of those quiet, slightly muted starts to the day, with a lot more cloud around compared to yesterday and a fairly calm, settled feel in the village as people ease into the end of the week. Overnight in town, it stayed dry and mostly calm, with temperatures steadily dropping through the evening and bottoming out around -6 degrees Celsius. Winds stayed light for most of the night, generally just a gentle airflow, though there were a few brief gusts at times that made it feel a touch sharper. By early morning, temperatures had lifted back towards -3 degrees, with no snowfall reported around the village. Looking at today around town, cloud is really the main story. Conditions stay mostly overcast, with no real sunshine expected. Temperatures this afternoon should top out around -1 degree Celsius. Winds stay light through the morning, then pick up slightly into a light breeze later on, with gusts possibly reaching around 38 kilometers per hour, coming in from the east. There is a moderate chance of precipitation at times, so it's worth keeping a hood or an extra layer handy. Up on Bellevarde, it stays colder than in town, with temperatures peaking around -3 degrees Celsius. Cloud comes and goes through the day, but there should still be some brighter spells and decent visibility overall. Winds are light to moderate, mainly from the southwest, though it will feel more exposed on ridges and higher lifts compared to the village below. And now we're showing you the latest snow report filmed up on Solaise a couple of days ago by Steve Angus. Steve works with TDC, the Development Centre, and he's out on the slopes every single day. So it's always great to get insight from someone who really knows the snow and the conditions from first-hand experience.
Welcome to a weekly snow report for myself, Steve Angus, here in Val d'Isère, where conditions are absolutely exceptional. We had a retort bringing about 30 to 40 centimetres of snowfall along the Italian border. And that wonderful snow wasn't accompanied by too much wind. Absolutely fantastic conditions. Less so over in the team direction, but wonderful conditions nonetheless. It's obviously freshened up the piste as well, and they're in phenomenal condition. And as you can see over my shoulder, nobody around at all. So if you are coming out next week, you're in for a very, very lovely week with not many people around before the school holidays start approaching on the horizon. It gets a bit busier. I think the outlook for the next week in terms of snowfall and weather is going to be a much more traditional northwest weather system coming in, leading to blanketed snow across the Teen and Val d'Isère area. Not in huge amounts, but welcome nonetheless, some snowfall. That will be accompanied by a drop in the temperatures, so make sure you pack your thermals. That is very, very needed, that's for sure. But after that, I think we're going to have a much more normal return to these wonderful sunny conditions. So like it was the last week, snow followed by sun. Is there anything in particular you'd like me to cover in these snow reports, then do get in contact. But you're listening to Steve Angus at TDC Ski School. If you want to get in contact, any lessons or guiding off piste, then please feel free to get in contact. Thanks for tuning in. I'll be back next week. Enjoy the mountains, enjoy your mountain sports, and I'll see you soon. Bye-bye for now.
And Radio Val d'Isère had some more news yesterday morning about the Marmottes chairlift. As mentioned before, the new gearbox is currently being assembled in the arrival station. Several teams are working in shifts alongside 2 Swiss technicians from the manufacturer to make sure everything is installed correctly. Doing this kind of work midwinter is extremely complex, as heavy lifting equipment like cranes simply cannot be brought in. This is one of the biggest mechanical issues the resort has faced in around 20 years, and we'll keep you updated as soon as there's any news on reopening. And yes, the rumours are true. Le Hibou is now open for lunch, with the kitchen running straight through from midday until 9:30 in the evening. From chicken burgers to beef tartare, it's all-day food with no breaks, which is very welcome news for hungry skiers. Now for the avalanche outlook, and this is a translated summary of the official bulletin d'estimation du risque d'avalanche issued by Météo France. You must check the full official report using the link in the video description before heading out. For today, the overall avalanche risk remains marked above 1,700 metres, particularly on cold-facing slopes. Below that altitude, the risk drops to limited. Natural avalanches are considered unlikely, but triggered avalanches are still a real concern. Above roughly 1,700 to 1,800 metres, reactive wind slabs remain present in north, east, and west facing slopes. These slabs often sit on persistent, weak layers deeper in the snowpack, meaning avalanches can propagate widely and be triggered remotely. In some cases, fractures can be very deep, reaching 1 to 2 meters, producing medium to large avalanches. Even at high altitude on south-facing slopes, cold snow has persisted in places, and triggering remains possible. Recent stability tests confirm both the reactivity of these slabs and their potential to spread. Audible collapses or whoomp sounds have been reported away from ridgelines, which is a clear red flag. It's important to stress that existing ski tracks do not mean a slope is stable. In contrast, a firm refrozen crust can indicate more local stability. Below 1,700 meters and on sunnier aspects, the risk is lower, but caution is still required. Snow coverage is now close to seasonal norms, though it has settled significantly since the heavy snowfall earlier this month. In shaded, north-facing terrain above around 1,800 meters, some dense but enjoyable powder can still be found. Elsewhere, wind has heavily shaped the snow, with hard ridges and deep accumulations in gullies and lee areas. On south-facing slopes, spring-like snow is developing below around 2,200 meters. Overall, this is a day for conservative choices, good spacing, and sticking to well-considered terrain. If you're planning to explore the mountains this season, remember, off-piste skiing is dangerous. Always take a qualified guide and never go off-piste without a transceiver, shovel, and probe. And most importantly, know how to use them and practice regularly. That's it for today. If you've spotted anything happening around resort or know of an event worth sharing, do drop it in the comments. Have a great Friday, ski safe, and I'll catch you again tomorrow. If you're finding these daily updates useful, a quick like and a subscribe to the Val d'Isère online YouTube channel really helps support the channel and reach more people who love the resort.
For further information, piste reports, and events sponsored by Val d'Isère Tourism, please go to radiovaldeisere.com, the local radio station with the most up-to-date information. Forecast information provided by medioblue.com, infoclimat.fr and meteofrance.fr. Conditions in the Alps can change quickly, so always check before heading out. Webcam pictures courtesy of the official Val d'Isère website valdeisere.com.